Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back to Scammers and Impersonators. Today, we are going to talk about the rich and the famous, the influencers. And I will not name drop, just so that you know that. The individuals who are being impersonated, that are celebrities and other individuals, they are just as much of a victim as those who are being scammed in their name. So I do not name drop. Second of all, I am not a fan of anybody. Who I am a fan of is the individuals who have made an impact of my life for the better. I share those individuals, about those individuals in my book, and that is where I become a fan. So we're going to go in and we're going to talk. I hope you have your popcorn and maybe even a drink. It's Friday. And if you're here listening to me, then I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you're not doing anything more on a Friday night. This is my life. Okay, here is where we're going to start with. There was a celebrity, a scammer, okay, but I'm going to call him a celebrity scammer, okay. There was a celebrity who was so into talking with me that he set up 3 Instagram accounts, and he started engaging me with the first one, and we were chatting. New to Instagram, and all of a sudden, I get another chat pop up, and it's the same celebrity. Now I'm talking to him twice at the same time, bouncing back and forth. And lo and behold, here after just a few moments, guess what? Now there's 3. There are 3 chats that are open of the exact same celebrity, and I'm bouncing back, talking to this exact same person, all 3 with 3 different chats. And I am laughing. I am absolutely laughing because I'm like, oh, you guys, you just, I don't know what to tell you, you've been caught. So I proceeded to say to each one of them, wow, I feel so honored. You are so interested in me as a woman that you have established 3 separate accounts to talk to me at the same time on 3 separate things. So I'm just going to bounce back and forth between all 3 of you. Or should I just talk with you here? And of course they were like, all of them were saying, well, no, I'm the real one. The other 2 are fakes. You need to just block them. The one did give me a fake ID, is an outdated driver's license. But I had to laugh because it was so funny as I chatted, and then I close out that chat and then chat and talk to this guy, the same guy, chat again and chat again. You can, yeah, my favorite color is blue. Oh, yes, my favorite color is blue. Oh, yeah, my favorite color is blue. It was so funny. All 3 of them got blocked. But what it did was it caused me to go and research his real Instagram page. And then I started laughing even more. Because one of this guy's characters, he was just a real smooth talker with the ladies. And his marketing team carried that character and put it on basically he continued it on Instagram. So his whole Instagram feed comments was basically sexting women. Now we all know that this celebrity doesn't have time to 24/7 sex talk with women, but he hires his team. He hires his marketing team to be able to do that. And it made me laugh because as I'm reading all these little sex chats, I'm just like, ladies, do you really, you understand you're not talking to this guy. Maybe a guy you're talking to, and maybe a woman you're talking to. And then I had to laugh even more because I was like, wow. What if that was your job? How would you put that on a resume? I am a professional sex sex chatter for this celebrity. How would you do that on your resume? So I have to say that thank you to the impersonators of this particular celebrity because he really lightened my day. He made me laugh. And I am now checking out what I am now, following and checking out what movies I need to go to on the next one. So thumbs up for the 3 imposters who impersonated you because, uh, you know, I'll, I'll go to your next movie. But that is probably one of the funniest ones. Here's another funny one. So I was, like I said, literally hundreds of guys, and I have just kind of how I run my business. Anybody who directs messages me, I will personally direct message them back. I just think that is appropriate. And then I will usually say, I'm here on business, da 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 da. Or there have been occasions when I was in a committed relationship, and that's what everybody's response was. I'm in a committed relationship. I will be happy to engage with you in the comments, but I committed that I would not have any personal direct conversations with men in a direct message. So I'm sure you are a man of honor, and you will help me maintain my honor in keeping my commitment. And that went, I actually said that for actually a couple of months, because I was for a couple of months' time in a committed relationship. And I had committed that I would not engage with other men through direct messages. And I kept my commitment. I kept my commitment even when royalty, oh yes, we have had royalty contact me. And of course, when I would say I'm in a committed relationship, did my spill, I always got that, well, I just want to be friends. And my response was always the same, and I appreciate that. And that's why I will be more than happy to engage with you publicly in my comments, but I will not engage with you on direct message. And royalty, yes, they were scammers, they were impersonators, would proceed to sit there and say, but you know who I am, and you know what kind of life you could have with me. I'm sure it would be much better than the person you're committed to. And I would usually be laughing at that point. And my response would be, and what kind of woman would I be if I left somebody that I loved and I committed to be with somebody who basically was promising me fame and fortune and wealth? How would you ever be able to trust me that I wouldn't do the same with you? Because if I can't keep my commitments, then I really am nothing. And that's what I would always respond to. Here's what that little thing, that little few chats, what I did, found. Scammers and impersonators kept pushing. They got blocked. Individuals, gentlemen who continued to push, proceeded to tell me that they did not respect a committed relationship. Most likely they had wives and girlfriends, and that's the reason why they didn't want to engage with me in public, on the comments. They got blocked. I will say there were quite a few men who said, Carin, I'm so sorry. I did not know. I thought you were single. I will not interfere with that. But if it doesn't work out, just know I'm interested. Feel free to reach out to me. So I have many of those in there. I haven't reached out to any of them because I'm doing the single thing. Okay, let's just say I'm doing the single thing. So those are some of the things that I learned from that experience of being contacted, and my response. So some of the other things that I have had, when it comes to individuals with wealth, individuals who have high positions. These are individuals who, when they snap, people jump. That's not how it works in a relationship. So when they snapped and I did not jump, they sometimes were not the most nicest individuals. Most likely they were scammer impersonators, but if they were real, that wouldn't make a good relationship. They got blocked. Yeah, can you tell? I have a tendency of blocking people. So that is some of the things that I have learned as well. I have had several marriage proposals. I've had an individual who allowed me to, he would show me pictures of him and his lifestyle and the wealth that he had. And then he asked me to marry him, and I respectfully declined. We were in just barely chit-chatting when that occurred. He said he had made that decision to make an offer based off my profile. And my response was, you only know what I've allowed you to see. You do not know the depth of me. So once again, I'm going to respectfully decline. He told me to grow up. He told me I needed to grow up, that I was not a 20-year-old woman, that because I had shared my age, that I was an older woman, that my prospects were probably limited, and I was getting probably the best offer I would ever get in my life. And I needed to grow up and realize that and just accept it. And I have to say, it made me laugh as I went and pressed the block button. Because I thought that was funny. I have had several gentlemen who have had children who had help being raised. Some of them, their wives had passed away. And my heart went out to them because I appreciated what they were saying, that based off what they had read on my Instagram post, they felt I was a quality woman to help them raise their children, and they would have the financial means, of course, to give me a very amazing life. And that's what they asked. They just asked me to love them and to love their child. And these were amazing, wonderful individuals who, unfortunately, I did respectfully decline. I did not block. I just wished them the very, very best. I have had individuals who have been, because I've been able to do some research on them, I've had individuals who were in prominent positions who were used to this, who then asked me if I could refer. If I wasn't available or interested, could I refer a friend that was like me? And my response was, I don't know you. I can't refer anybody to you. Just because you're successful and you're wealthy, that's not enough for a referral. And some of them had a hard time with that. It's not you, it's them. And I was like, yeah, but if I referred you, I would have confidence that you were a good person to be with, and I haven't gained that yet. So if they pushed, they got blocked. If they didn't, then, we just stopped communicating. So those are some of the fun ones. Those are some of the fun ones and some of the heart ones. Now here are some other ones. Musicians, yes, I've had lots of musicians contact me, and here's the benefit of an imposter being a musician. My playlists are filled now with musicians that made um, imposters make contact with me that I didn't know that they were musicians, and I started listening to their music and I liked it, and so I started adding them to playlists. So you ended up getting a follower because of an imposter. So that is also another one of the fun ones. The youngest one, imposter, and I love his profile page because it says, "This is the only page that I have. This is the only account I have. If anybody contacts you saying it's me, it's an imposter, don't get fooled with that BS." You know, he didn't quite say BS, but don't get fooled with that. So, but this particular musician has an incredible voice, incredible music. I really enjoy listening to him. So this imposter, so I knew this was an imposter, and this imposter was engaging, and I was like, hey, I'm 57, and sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I will just mess with their minds. I admit, sometimes I will mess with their minds. And so I'm like, well, I'm 57 years old, and you're young enough to be my child, and you're the same age as my children, and you get the response of, age is only a number, and I was like, well, okay, I said, so here's my question, since apparently you talk to a lot of women and you've had a lot of dating experience. And since I'm old enough to be your mother, what advice would you give me as pretend like I'm your mother? What advice would you give your mother who would be going in and starting to date again? And I got an eye roll emoji. That was the last. That was the last of our conversations. Is the eyeball emoji. Which I thought was fun. There was a musician who was one that I used to listen to when I was younger, and I hadn't listened to him for a very long time. And this imposter did a very good job being him. Fortunately, he didn't spell his name right. But he wrote eloquent. This imposter wrote very eloquently. Oh my gosh, he just wrote like a musician would write, and just beautifully expressed himself. But didn't block him, but we just continued talking real fast because it was clear that if you can't spell your name right, I am sure, you're not the real deal. But here is what all of these experiences have taught me. I do this thing. I do this thing, and it's where I will take a situation and I will step out of center and I will put the situation in center, and then I will try to look at it in all different perspectives. So being contacted by imposters, I did think about celebrities, and I put that celebrity in the center, just a celebrity in general, nobody in particular. And I started thinking, what would it be like to be a celebrity who would like at the end of the day just to be a man and to be in a relationship with a woman and not have to be a celebrity 24/7. Because I think we as a public do a disservice to these individuals who are people, because we want them to be celebrities 24/7, 365. And that would have to be exhausting. So I had to really think about that. There are a few celebrities have been able to transition into having a regular person as their spouse, but those are very few and far between. And I started thinking about it. I thought, as I thought about the discovery and the strategy, the design and execution phase, I started thinking about that. And I thought, first of all, how hard would that be? Because you would automatically be assumed you weren't who you were. And you would have to prove that. But yet, to prove that, you put yourself at risk. That anything you say, anything you do, couldn't be captured in one way or the other, and you end up seeing it the next morning in tabloid magazines. So how hard would that be to engage with a regular person? That would have to be tremendously hard. And then I thought about the scrutiny, flipping it on the other side. A woman being involved with a celebrity, the type of scrutiny that she would go under with the media and the fans, and every aspect of her life would be picked apart. Not only her life, but her children's life, because everybody would want to know everything about this woman who, ended up capturing this, celebrity, this single celebrity's heart, especially if he had been single for a while. So the strength that would have to take for a woman to be able to handle that, and the conversations that would have to occur, not only between him and her, but between her and her family, to be able to understand, this is going to now, if I engage and I become in a relationship with this celebrity man, this is how it's going to impact your life. And that has to be discussed as well. Then I thought about the amount of tests that you would have to undergo as a woman with there, because colleagues and all of his people, they get paid to protect him. So therefore, they are going to test you. They are going to test you to see if you are talking with other men. They're going to test you to see if you are who you are, or if you are trying to gauge with him in order to capitalize on his fame, his fortune, his money, because that's what they do. They are hired to protect him. So the amount of tests you would go under. And I think that would be really hard on the relationship, because you would have to understand it, but I think the level of scrutiny and the type of test would be very traumatic, could be very traumatic, could be very heartbreaking. So you would have to be incredibly strong to be able to endure that, and the relationship would have to be strong. Because he couldn't tell you you're going to be tested. You would just never know from one day to the moment if somebody engaged with you online, if this was a test. You would be living on the edge. You could be living on the edge for months after months after months, and even years, for years, while you build that relationship with him. And that would take a tremendous amount of toll on the relationship. And I found that interesting. I found that really, really challenging. One of the other things I thought about is the level of trust you would have to have with him. Because, celebrity status, fame, fortune, he has women. He's going to have women throwing themselves at him at all time. And you would have to trust him that as he engaged with women, because that's his job, as he did his job, that you would have to trust him that It may be coming, words may be coming from here, but his heart remains with you. And in order to do that, I think you would have to have a tremendous amount of conversations. You would have to make sure that the communication remained strong. Because if the communication broke down, I think that's when the doubts and the lack of trust and respect. Because if you're not talking to me, you are talking to a lot of other women, but yet you're not talking to me. You have time to talk to a lot of other women, but you're not talking to me. So therefore, the heart may not be as strong as you had initially thought it would be, or as initially was stated to you, because there's plenty of time to talk to other women, yet the person that you're saying you want to build a life with, you don't have time to talk with, you're too busy. And so those are the things that I thought about. I thought about the absences, especially, if you're working and their work is taking them out of the country, their work happens to be really demanding. There may be periods of time when you're not around each other. And then that, with the flip side of, he would have to trust you. He would have to trust you that while he was out of the country working on some film or whatever he was doing, that you weren't off being unfaithful. And so that when you think, oh, I want to be with this person, you need to really seriously think about all of those complexities that would have to be. Then it goes even a step further. Now you have to think about ex-wives and children and family, all the people that would be inheriting wealth, because they're going to be picking you apart as well. Because if you came on and became husband and wife, that distribution of wealth would change. And that could be challenging for that group of individuals. Some may be okay with it, some may not be okay with it. So you may not be accepted because of that. Chances are there will be some who will never accept you because of that. And that is something that I thought of as well. So as I was thinking about people of celebrity status, people of wealth, those are the thoughts that came to me. Those were the thoughts that I thought, you would have to take years. I do believe it would take years to get through the discovery, the strategy, the design, and the execution. And there would be moments of off, there would have to be moments of off and on because it would be so challenging. Being in a relationship like that, every aspect of your life, everything you've ever posted on social media, because with the wealth that was there, they would have the ability to, their people, go and do a thorough investigation and investigate every aspect of your life. Everything you ever posted on social media, every aspect of your life would be scrutinized to protect him. And that's the reality of what's going to occur if you decide to be in a relationship with somebody like that. So it's not all about fancy gowns and being on his arm. You think about that when you dream of being with this celebrity person. One of the other things I thought about as I was thinking about this, not that I think it will ever occur, but just going down that path. I thought about things that I would have to do. And I thought about my life And I had to laugh. I really had to laugh because at the time all of this was going on, I was writing my book and then I was also recording my drafts and I had them posted on YouTube. And it made me laugh because I thought, oh man. Oh, wow, if that occurred to me, this is probably not the best way to introduce somebody that you would be interested in to family and friends and colleagues. And I thought about, oh my gosh, I hope they have popcorn out. If this occurred to me at this moment in time, I hope they had popcorn out. I hope they have a drink, and I hope they're enjoying the show because I will just tell you, my videos were painful to watch. I had mentally put myself back in that moment of time and was experiencing those things because I wanted the real raw emotions. And my videos were very painful. I was crying. My speech pattern was off. I was stammering. I was just a wreck. I was an absolute wreck while I was recording them. But I wanted to keep them real. I wanted to keep the real raw truth of the moment. And I wanted to capture that so that as I went in editing, I wouldn't have to keep reliving it, but I could look at the videos and gain the insight I needed to make sure that the editing went well. I have taken those down, not because I ever think that I will ever be involved with somebody of celebrity status, but now that I'm ready to do my book, I want the book to speak, and for marketing reasons, they don't need to be on there anymore. So those are the things I was thinking of. I was also thinking what I would need to do in order to try and be accepted by family and friends. Anybody who would be in the inheritance line. And what I decided was, if that ever occurred, at the very, very, very beginning, during discovery phase, the very initial part, I would make them commit to a prenup. That if the relationship went to the point where we were going to be married, they would have to commit to a prenup, and the prenup would be that I would walk away with zero. Whatever was his, whatever he wouldn't be able to change his will. So that would all remain the same. So whoever was in that inheritance line would remain in that inheritance line, and I would not be seen as a threat. And I would insist on that, or I would not continue to engage in discovery mode and get to know, because that would be important for me to be accepted. And it would also be important for me that everybody would know I'm not after fame, I'm not after fortune, I'm not after money. I'm simply a woman interested in a man who reached out to me. And that's all we are. Everything else is our jobs and his inheritance and his wealth, and that, however it was before I came into his life, would not be changed. So those are the things that I thought about. Those are the things that I said, if that ever occurred in my life, those are the things that I would implement. So those are some of the things to think about when you are engaging. And here are some of the tips of how to know. Because here's the thing about social media. You can go on Twitter and you can tweet, and there can be times where celebrities with the verified, the little star, they could engage back with you, and it has occurred. Instagram has the celebrities, and I notice that sometimes that they will, engage back with the initial individuals who comment initially on with them. So it's not impossible. I also thought about, okay, most likely they do have managers who manage that. So if they wanted to engage with somebody on Instagram, they would have to do it in a different, they'd have to do it on a different account, which wouldn't be verified because they would not want their team to be privy to their private conversations. And that I could see actually being a legit, that could occur. I thought if I ever got to that status, that I ever will, that would be something that I would have to do. And then it came down to verifying who you would be. And that's where it goes back to there's so many things you can do to verify that. And the easiest one would be, for instance, on Twitter, on your verified one. You know, if you're chatting on a different account and you are who you are and you need to prove who you are, the very easiest one would be to say, I am going to post on my verified Twitter account this exact comment. And I'm going to do it at, 2 o'clock. So check back and you will know then I am. And then whether you posted it, whether if you're the celebrity, whether you posted it at 2 o'clock or whether you told your team at 2 o'clock, I want you to post this. And it could be as simple as today was an absolutely amazing day and I'm looking forward to the future. If you did that, word for word, quote for quote, this is what I'm posting at 2 o'clock and your staff posted that at 2 o'clock, that would verify that you are who you are. Pretty simple, pretty harmless. One of the other things you could do to verify who you are, because if you have a verified account, and I'm talking now about on Instagram, if you have a verified account on Instagram, one of the things that you could do would be to say, okay, at this time I'm going to go live. And I'm going to do an introduction on the topic and write out what you are going to say in that introduction. And it could be simply as, hey, I thought I would do a live feed. I haven't done one for a very long time. And I decided to do one because, and then you are saying the exact words that whatever it is, you don't have to say the person's name that you're talking to. You just have to repeat whatever phrase you have told that individual you're going to say in the live feed. Now, it's the live feed on your verified account, and you're saying word for word what you told that person you're direct messaging you're going to say on your verified account. Now, you have just verified yourself. You didn't have to pick up the phone. You didn't have to do a video. You didn't have to put yourself at risk that, whatever you said was going to end up being on tabloid, because once again, remember, and I'm talking about if it occurred with me, I would have to prove myself that he could trust me, that I'm not going to scam him, that I'm not a scammer, I'm not an impersonator, I'm not going to sell whatever conversations that we have and say all these things. I would have to establish that trust. So that would be a way of getting through that discovery zone. Very, very painless, and it would be a way of being able to move forward with trust. So here's one of the other things that you have to realize if you are ever involved with a celebrity type individual. One of the other things I thought about. It's kind of like chess. That's the best way I can do it. The queen always protects the king. The queen always protects her king. She will take the fall before she lets the king fall. And that is what you have to understand. when you're in that type of relationship, the queen always protects the king. Now, with that being said, think about chess. The king, understanding that the queen will always protect the king, understanding that his queen will take the fall before letting any harm come to him. What does the king do in chess? The king has an entire army surrounding that queen to protect her because he knows she will take the fall for him. And therefore, because he loves her, he surrounds her with his army to protect her. And that is the best analogy I can do as far as in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody who is a celebrity, somebody who's an influencer, somebody who, may be an individual very successful in a top corporation, somebody with the extreme amount of wealth. Those are all things you have to think about. It's not all just put on the gowns and go and, have this luxury lifestyle. No, it's going to take a tremendous amount of work. It's going to take a tremendous amount of effort and patience and commitment and diligence. It goes back to that triangle. Remember, the foundation is communication, and the four corners on communication is commitment, consistency, clarity, and composition. If you have that, trust and respect can be built. If this goes down, it all goes down. It all collapses. So those are some of the things that I have learned as I have dealt with imposters on social media when it came to celebrities. So enjoy your weekend. I am going to enjoy mine. I'm actually going to be focusing on editing my book and getting my book going. And I'll touch bases with you again on Monday. Thanks for listening.